let's continue. Let's start off with Kamala Harris. I am going to tell you like what she did wrong in my opinion and what I would have done in this situation, like what I think is the best possible way to message out of these like obviously right-wing criticisms that Dana Bash launched pretty early on. Okay? This was adversarial, this was contentious. Dana Bash literally fucking straight up daggered her on a lot of these issues that was going to happen regardless. Like these were going to be questions. They should have been ready for it. They should have been primed for a lot of these questions. Some of them were reasonable questions. Some of them were unreasonably framed. Let's take a look.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. The bus tour is well underway here in Georgia. You have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White
Their
House?
fucking captions are so ass.
There are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism. I think, sadly, in the last decade, we have had in the former president someone who has really been pushing an agenda and an environment that is about diminishing the character and the strength of who we are as Americans, really dividing our nation, and I think people are ready to turn the page on that.
So what would you do day one?
Day one, it's going to be...
So, so right off the jump, she's like, oh, look, I'm here to fix the middle class. I'm here to help the middle class. Not the worst answer, okay? I will say this. Unfortunately for Kamala Harris, and before people get mad at me for saying this, she is not a very charismatic individual, okay? She's just not. That is just the reality, okay? This is what you got, Democrats. This is what you're working with, okay? It is what it is. But I have been a believer that at the very least, putting forward exciting policies that would be helpful for Americans will at least make up for some of that lack of charisma, right? She's better than Joe in the sense that she's not a carcass. But yes, I did watch this yesterday. I'm going over it again because now I can pause it because we watched it live. Okay? Like, and you can see that difference between her and Waltz. Like, you can see that difference between her and Gretchen Whitmer. Okay? You can see that difference between her and AOC. I'll use an example of a woman of color. I'll use an example of a white woman. And I'll use the example, the immediate differences. Like, you can notice, like, there are some politicians who are just, they just have it more dialed in. That's it, you know, and some who are not very good. Okay? What does charisma have anything to do with politics? In the United States of America, it has everything to do with politics. What are you talking about? Let's continue.
It'll be about, one, implementing my plan for what I call an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families, for example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them buy a car seat, to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one.
What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda, too. As I said, the idea of inspiring America to what can be. And I think many of the...
Laid out the proposal, where not on the website. So here's a couple things that, like, she hasn't done that even the Biden camp had done that I really liked. talking about rent control at the federal level. Like Biden was literally swinging, okay, on his last couple of days before Nancy Pelosi came and was like, you're done, okay? Before they made the boss call, Biden was literally like, we're capping rents, okay? We're making it so that being a landlord is unfeasible. We're going to go after corporate landlords. That was another good one. The government is literally doing that already. The DOJ is already doing that. Talk about it, okay? Talk about it. The IRS is going after Coca-Cola. Talk about it. It's such a great way to just literally be like, hey, I know Republicans are constantly talking about like, oh, 80,000 new IRS agents or whatever. But you know what they're doing? They're going after Coca-Cola, which is found to be avoiding $16 billion of fucking taxes, like damn near the entirety of their profit, okay? That's what we're doing. That's what the Democratic Party is here to fucking do, okay? Enough of this nonsense where corporations just rob you fucking blind, okay? They just run your goddamn pockets. Talk about it. It is so fucking frustrating. It is so goddamn frustrating that they just won't openly say these things that are popular with the base, popular with all Americans, not just the base, but all Americans, okay? We're going after corporate landlords. We're going after people that are making your lives unaffordable. We're going after price gougers. This is the type of shit that you're supposed to fucking say if you want to actually galvanize the base and you want to actually pick up additional people. Okay? Now, the issue on the other hand is that those policies are objectively unpopular with a key constituency that matters a lot more than the average voter. Donor class, and also the media. Now, here's the issue. Okay? Here's the issue. When you openly state some of these things, you're constantly at odds with people that have the capacity to make or break your campaign. It is true. Okay? It is true. Especially when the Harris camp is currently relying on the media being relatively kind to them. That's why I said from the jump that this was paying the piper. Okay? You came in, you sat down with Dana Fash, and you said all of the right-wing things so that the analysis afterwards was, well, Kamala Harris was really presidential, blah, 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 blah. She did a great job. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to moderate to a medium. You're supposed to moderate to the median voter. You're supposed to moderate to this mythical moderate out there who like is very pro-war and is invested in ensuring that, Coca-Cola does get to still steal $16 billion of taxable revenue. You know, that's me. I'm the moderate voter. It's like, no, dude, that's just you. That's just you and the people that are paying your fucking salary. Ain't nobody in fucking Alabama's like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris now because she's not going after fucking big grocers. Like, that's not a real person, okay? The mythical moderate is not a fucking Raytheon executive, or the mythical moderate is not an executive in the Walton family or a member of the Walton family, okay? That's just like one fucking guy, literally. Well, 7, technically.
These things that the vice president's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit is one we know that reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We did it in Minnesota. To have a federal partner in this, unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You talked about, you call it the opportunity economy. You are well aware that right now many Americans are struggling. There's a crisis of affordability.
Yeah.
One of your campaign themes is we're not going back. But I wonder what you say to voters who do want to go back when it comes to the economy specifically.
So like I think this was literally one of the most right-wing questions that, like, framing wise, it's one of the most insane ways to frame a question. Okay? It's just like, it's so obviously slanted. It's basically like repeating something that Trump would say verbatim, but in a much more professional way, because they can't, because obviously Trump would never be able to string those sentences together without like calling Kamala Harris like fake black or something. Okay. Yes, I watched this yesterday. This is incredibly right-wing framing on this question. I mean, you can see it in her fucking face. She's like, bitch. Like, look at her reception. She's like, oh God. Anyway, be for fucking real, dude. That's a crazy. Like, of course, someone is gonna. Of course, it is understandable to say, what do you have to say to the people that will say, like, you know, you were fucking vice president, like you didn't do anything. Like, that's fine. That's an understandable question that's gonna happen. The media is so against the rent and housing stuff. Vox, New York Times, Wall Street Journal all ran main page stuff last 2 weeks attacking her for housing proposal not being exactly perfect in minor issues. If they don't bring up Trump's housing policy is deport people to free up their houses. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. I don't even want to get into that. I have a lot of issues with Kamala Harris's housing policies, or at least the way she communicates her housing policies. We don't even fucking fully know what any of her real policies are because there's no policy paper that, like, to you know, work through at this situation. It is kind of fucking crazy, though. No, Lula. Hold on. God damn it.
Because their groceries were less expensive, housing was more affordable when Donald Trump was president.
Well, let's start with the fact that when Joe Biden and I came in office.
My dad is knocking like a cop,
during the height
dude.
of the pandemic, we saw over
My dad was knocking on the door like I owe him money, dude. Holy shit. I got to pee. I'll
10
be back in a
million
second.
jobs were lost. People, I mean, literally, we were all tracking the numbers. Hundreds of people a day were dying because of COVID. The economy had crashed. In large part, all of that because of mismanagement by Donald Trump of that crisis. When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it. Which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging. What we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy, and we have done that. I'm very proud of the work that we have done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened.
I think that's it's again, right-wing slanted in terms of like, it reads as an attack, but I do think that it's a fair question to ask. And that it's one that the Kamala Harris campaign should be primed and ready to retort on, specifically because Donald Trump is going to be saying that non-fucking stop. So you have to remember this. You have to remember that, like, this is obviously a thing that is out there, okay? And as vice president, she can't fucking say, like, I have no power, I'm the goddamn VP, okay? That is the reality, but, like, doesn't fucking matter. She's there to talk about the admin, okay? Talk about the Biden administration. And I don't even think she did a bad job with this answer, to be fair. Okay? I don't think she did a bad job in this answer, okay? I guess the only notes that I would add on to it is simply that she is nowhere near as contentious with the Republicans as Republicans are with Democrats. Okay? Every Republican, regardless of like how average they are, they always fucking hold Democrats to account. Democrats, on the other hand, rarely ever fucking hold the blame or hold the Republican feet to the fire. They never do that. And it's very frustrating because you should also talk about how you have a bold vision, but that bold vision oftentimes is met by obstructionist Republicans who don't want what's best for Americans. Republicans who will every step of the way try to obstruct and try to stop the radical agenda, the bold agenda, the progressive agenda of the Democratic Party in terms of Build Back Better, in terms of the IRA, and then will go back to their town halls and look their constituents dead in the eyes and lie to them about how they brought that money over there. We fought for that. We had to fight you so that your constituents could actually get money. That is the reality of American politics. And I think Democrats should say that. Okay? That's it. Like, just hold them accountable. You know, it's just the truth. Like, many times when I get mad at Kamala Harris or Biden or the Democratic Party, I'm upset that they just literally don't say the truth because they're fucking so fearful that, like, the media is immediately going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? You're shitting on the Republicans a little bit too much or whatever. And it's like, you haven't tried it. Just fucking do it. Republicans do it all the time. Just be truthful. Just be honest. Like, it fucking blows my mind that, like, the Democratic Party has gotten so fearful over the course of, like, especially the past 30, 40 years where they, like, genuinely will cave to right-wing framing on these issues. It blows my mind.
We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited, I was in Nevada recently, a grandmother who showed me her receipts. And before we capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, she was paying hundreds of dollars, up to thousands of dollars a month for her insulin. She's not doing that any
You
longer.
maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000, when we do what we did in the first year of being in office.
That was the worst part, by the way. When she goes, so you're saying Bidenomics is successful? It is a fucking ridiculous, like that, bro. Dana, do you work at Fox News? Like, fuck you mean? Oh, you're saying Bidenomics is successful? Like, that right there is straight up. That right there is straight up like you just dropped the pretense of like being a fucking objective journalist and you straight up hit that fucking right-wing slant. Okay? I'm sorry. That is a fucking ridiculous statement to make in the midst of an interview. Okay? Like, that's crazy. That's some, like, fucking Newsmax shit, okay? What are we doing here? Is this Fox News? Is she being interviewed by Fox News or should she be interviewed by, like, actual adults, okay? Anyway, like, there is a way to be adversarial without obviously hitting a typical right-wing slant on this loaded-ass question that you're asking. Some of the questions are actually perfectly valid. Most of the questions that she's asked are perfectly valid. But this one is, like, ridiculous. So the reason why I find this question particularly frustrating is because she's in the midst of like talking about a lot of the administration that she was a part of and the successful legislation that they passed. Joe Biden was way more confident about the administration's successes, whereas I think like the whole Bidenomics strategy from the Brandon camp came at a really bad time. But it was, you know, I would say it came at a bad time because like Americans were suffering, but like the Brandon camp was saying like, oh, the soft landing is going to happen. Inflation is going to get under control by the time the election cycle comes around. So people will associate Bidenomics with like positive attitudes towards the economy. Okay. So when she slants it in this way, when she says, so you're saying Bidenomics is successful, that is just a direct right-wing attack, okay? To be like, oh, all of the policy accomplishments that you're talking about, they still did not, they fell flat, they didn't help at all, And remember how everyone was talking about like the economy being horrible at the peak of inflation when wages had obviously not caught up and there was real negative wage growth, okay? Overall, I think that is a very right-wing way to ask this question. The premise of the question is ridiculous. Like, basically amounts to, why haven't you already brought us the future and the present? Why aren't they asking Trump why he didn't do no tax on tips when he was president, for example? The point is, it's a new campaign season. I mean, yeah, but people, I think Dana and others would ask Trump that question if given the opportunity. Like, it's just Trump would not go on Fox News. I mean, sorry, CNN at this point, I don't think.
You maintain Bidenomics is a success.
I maintain that when we do the work of bringing...
Is this supposed to be a softball interview? No, no, no. That's why I said the early questions were valid. They were questions that they were going to receive. This is a little bit different to be like, oh, so you're saying Bidenomics is successful. That's like a cynical way to address what she is saying in this circumstance. Okay?
Down prescription medication for the American people, including capping the cost of the annual cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000. When we do what we did in the first year of being in office to extend the child tax credit so that we cut...
By the way, I will say, she actually did a pretty good job of dealing with this.
Child poverty in America by over 50%. When we do what we have done to invest in the American people and bringing manufacturing back to the United States so that we created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, bringing business back to America, what we have done to improve the supply chain so we're not relying on foreign governments to supply American families with their basic needs, I'll say that that's good work. There's more to do, but that's good work.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, "There is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking." Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue.
So this one is a tricky one, right? Because they need to win Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania obviously has a lot of fracking voters, okay? The answer to this, and I will always stand on this, okay? The answer to this is literally that the Green New Deal, if implemented, even though it has been attacked mercilessly with the dumbest shit possible, is one of the greatest fucking policy, like, top line, if you look at it without like addressing some of the dumb neoliberal aspects of it, is one of the smartest ways to deal with climate change. Okay? I will always stand on this, okay? Trying to restructure the American Energy Transition Program as a fucking jobs program is brilliant. Okay? Using a former very successful initiative, New Deal, to package it in the exact same way, brilliant. The problem is Democrats are pussies, and after they come up with a good policy, a sound policy, they will never actually fucking defend it. And the moment that they attack, the moment that Republicans like pick it apart and go, oh, you just don't want me to eat a burger or whatever, they just immediately drop it. And they're like, oh yeah, we didn't want that actually. Well, we didn't want that at all. It's so dumb. Do you think, like, just from a political standpoint, that the name Green New Deal is bad for branding now because they never defended it? I think that there is a lot of misinformation surrounding it. So once again, I'm running back to the same exact fucking argument that I have over and over again, which is Democrats, say the fucking truth. Say the fucking truth. Okay? I tweeted this while it was happening. I said, people in Pennsylvania and other places do not have a genetic predisposition to work fracking jobs. It's just money. A jobs program and restructuring of subsidies towards renewable energies will solve this issue. Dems shouldn't be afraid of communicating this. They won't, but oh well. Anytime this conversation comes up, you got to go like this, okay? You got to go like this. 75 to 85% of the government subsidies that taxpayers are paying into go, in terms of our energy initiatives, go directly to the fossil fuel industry. They line up the pockets of some of the richest people in this country, okay? These oil barons literally take all of those subsidies and make it so that fracking jobs are the only game in town for a lot of these places where industry is left. These people there is no difference tangibly between a guy working at a fucking oil rig versus a guy working at a renewable energy job, okay? A guy working at a fucking solar panel factory. There's no difference. If you're getting paid $100,000 a year and you got good benefits, you got a good compensation package, you got good fucking amenities such as like, paid emergency leave and whatnot, it doesn't matter to you. You don't have to do fracking. There is no world in which people are like, nah, you don't understand. I can't work a wind turbine. That's gay. Like it doesn't work that way. So why are we, as Democrats, funding and facilitating the oil and gas industry when they also recognize that this is a finite source of energy that is going to run out? It is making us less competitive in the global marketplace against China, okay? That's stealing our lunch money in this field. Everybody understands that that is the future. I'm looking at the fucking future. We're not going back. That's it. That's it. We cannot cede ground to China on this issue. And we currently have, as a consequence of the backwards thinking from these Republicans who tell you you can't get a $100,000 job working at a fucking renewable energy sector. You can't work in the renewable energy sector and have the exact same pay structure that you have working at a fucking oil rig. Those jobs are even better, as a matter of fact, than working on the oil rig. We're deadlocked on short-term profit motives and short-term thinking. I can tell you, I grew up in rural PA. No one in my whole town had anything to do with fracking. Yet every year they demanded their elected officials support it or they freak out. There's something deeply rooted in PA that's broken. The messaging you are speaking about won't break through in 50 years. Yeah, it's easy. It's because they watched industry leave Pennsylvania, okay? They saw steel mills and all of these other industries leave Pennsylvania, and then the only thing that came back to Pennsylvania was fracking jobs. So they're fucking terrified of that going away. That's why people that have nothing to do with fracking in Pennsylvania are still pro-fracking. That's it. It's fear. You need a replacement industry that's better than learn to code? Yeah, learn to code is idiotic, okay? That's not what I'm saying at all. Like, people always talk about retraining doesn't work, retraining doesn't work, retraining doesn't work. It's like, dude, these people didn't fucking grow up and like learn to frack, okay? They were trained. They didn't have any jobs for 2 fucking decades, and then the only game in town was an oil rig. So, of course, they learned how to fucking frack. That's it. That's it. It's not even retraining. It's just training, okay? Like, people make it seem... People literally have this, like, weird mentality over this, as though, like, a job is not a job, okay? That's it, though. I think it's because they are legitimately fearful that the only jobs that have come back to Pennsylvania that have given people, an opportunity to earn $100,000 a fucking year starting salary are fracking jobs. And they don't want it to turn into the Appalachian region. They don't want it to turn into fucking West Virginia with the coal jobs, by way of the coal jobs leaving. I cannot emphasize to CNN enough how much they are overemphasizing the importance of fracking to everyday Pennsylvanians. These dudes are fracking jobs. They ain't going to learn, though. You're right, but they're too stubborn. Okay, but it doesn't even fucking matter. It's not like every single Pennsylvanian has a fracking job. Oh, yeah. I mean, this part is also correct. Can I just say that there's absolutely no evidence that fracking would change one vote against Harris? Is total bullshit. I agree with you. That's another part. It's like there are more people living in the suburban urban areas in Pennsylvania than there are in the fucking rural areas where there are the frackers and those who are aligned with the fracking interests, okay? So obviously, there is a way to win Pennsylvania without like hyping up how much you love fracking. At this point, it feels like a national proxy for virtue signaling. Like you have people outside of PA being more concerned about PA fracking than PA itself because of the message it sends. Exactly. It's crazy. They feel they must be pro-fracking to get the few votes in PA, but not pro-Palestine to get even more votes in PA. Yep, you nailed it. That's another part of the problem. Anyway. I have a chem degree, and most of the best paying jobs are in oil and gas. Renewables don't hire chem, so there are jobs going to be lost for people who have direct qualifications for these positions. Sure, you're not wrong. But also, you have to remember, no one is talking about shutting off the faucet tomorrow, okay? That would be ridiculous. That would have genuine, long-standing consequences for the American economy. It's about transitioning away from it, and that the first step towards that transitioning comes from changing the way that our subsidy structure works. If most of the subsidies are directly going to oil and gas, those are the jobs that are going to be much higher paying jobs. Okay? I'm not saying she should be fucking... Wolf did a study and found that there are less than 25,000 jobs from fracking. This is a state of 13 million people. There are 100,000 green jobs there. It's 4-1. The other part about this, of course, is that, again, it is more so what people think is that's why the other chatter said, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from rural Pennsylvania. All they talk about is fracking, even though they're not from an area that has any fracking jobs. It's this like fear that they have that it will turn into a West Virginia style situation or a Kentucky style situation if the fracking jobs leave. Regardless of the fact that obviously Pennsylvania is a massive fucking state with a shit ton more jobs. It's the same principle behind coal workers, coal miners. People talk about coal as though it's like one of the most important fucking industries in this goddamn country. And it's like, there are more people. There are like 10x more people that work at fucking Arby's than a goddamn coal mine in this fucking country. Okay? But it's not about coal. Just like it's not about fracking. It's about what it represents. It's about industries leaving and leaving behind towns that are desolate. That's what it is. That's why it's a very frustrating conversation to have always. That's why I'm saying the way to message around it is talking about a transition away. Talking about it from the perspective of a jobs program. People want jobs. People want good paying, well paying jobs. The only way that the fucking oil and gas industry can afford, as of 2022, the total number of U.S. coal mining jobs amounted to 43,524. Exactly. The problem with fracking also is that it's like ruining their own fucking water supply. As much as I speak about PA from my youth and still have connections there, I can tell you here in Michigan, not a single person gave a fuck about that whole fracking section. It was a waste of time. Yeah. They need soldiers, not coders. It is not about learning the code, by the way. I fucking hate that. And it's not even about retraining. It's just about, dude, fuck the energy sector for a second. You think if there was like a chip factory that opened in fucking Pennsylvania tomorrow, okay, that hired 50,000 people and was offering them $100,000 starting salary, you think people would be like, oh, I don't know. I'm a fracker, brother. I can't do anything else. Like, no, they would be like, I love chips. I am number one. I'm Mr. Chip, okay? Call me Dorito the way I'm chipping. It doesn't matter. It's just money. It's just money. It's a way to fucking earn an honest wage, a livable wage. That's it. Nobody be like, fracking is in my blood, brother. I need to fucking destroy the water supply. It's so stupid. But the way that we fucking talk about it, the way that we talk about these jobs in America is so fucking stupid. Like it's a part of their identity. Yeah, I saw this. Poll, majority of PA residents want fracking to end. The clean energy industry performed much better with 69% of voters viewing it favorably and only 18% viewing it unfavorably. A clear majority of Pennsylvania voters, 55%, say they support the immediate or eventual end of natural gas drilling. also known as fracking, in the Commonwealth, according to a recent poll commissioned by the sustainably minded think tank Ohio River Valley Institute. It's just jobs. It's just jobs. That's it. Offer them better jobs. And the way to shut this conversation down is by restructuring subsidies. Okay? And they should say that. Like, they should openly say that. Be like, look, these guys, these wealthy oil and gas giants, okay, they rely on taxpayer-funded subsidies to be able to offer these good-paying jobs in the fracking industry. The problem is, it's fucking, one, a finite source, as in it's going to run out, okay? And they know it too. And two, it is destroying the natural, the natural ecosystem and the water supply. Okay? That's it. That's it. You mean to tell me that every single person that is currently working a fucking fracking job, 13,000 people, if tomorrow they were working, earthquakes is different. Earthquakes is entirely dependent on the fault lines, okay? Oklahoma, yes to earthquakes. I don't think it happens in Pennsylvania, as far as I understand. Fracking does have the capacity to obviously greatly increase frequency and size and magnitude of earthquakes, as long as it is it's entirely dependent on the fault lines and the way that like Oklahoma, noticeable fucking devastation due to an insane amount of earthquakes, both in magnitude and frequency, increase in magnitude and frequency, because of the way that the fault lines are aligned. Whereas I don't think it happens in what do you call it?
Paul, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question, I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed in that campaign?
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over 10...
She's saying I ran against fracking in 2019, but it doesn't matter. I was the vice president in 2020 and presided over an administration that obviously didn't ban fracking. Shut the fuck up. That's what she's saying, okay? Come on, guys. You understand what she's saying. It's not a good enough answer. She should literally just say, look, I'm done. I'm not going to repeat it again, okay? You know what I think she should say. I've repeated it 1,000,000 times over, okay? So when she gets hammered on it, again, she's like, did you see any evidence? Then she says something insane.
Probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new clean energy jobs. That tells me, from my experience as vice president, we can do it without banning fracking. In fact, Dana, I cast the tie-breaking vote that actually increased leases for fracking as vice president. So I'm very clear about where I stand.
And was there some policy or scientific data that you saw?
I hate the liberal predisposition, and I swear this is a lab, assigned liberal at birth, a genetic destiny for every liberal where they have to overcorrect, run scared, and literally try to present themselves as like the most right-wing person you have ever seen. Every liberal you encounter, they could be like, in one breath, they could be like, I am literally a revolutionary Maoist, okay? I want to arm the Philippines. I want to make sure that they overthrow the dictatorships in the global South, okay? We are going to do this. And then in the next breath, they'd be like, wow, you sound like a radical communist. They'd be like, I want to kill every poor person. I will literally send them I will put them on an assembly line and I will melt them inside a factory so we can use them as biomatter. Like, how? Just fucking have like a consistent through line and a vision for how you are going to fix the future of this country. Holy shit. Like, the first side of like marginally right-wing resistance to a liberal, they immediately become Hitler, okay? It's crazy. Like, she's like, I literally cast a tie-breaking vote. I love fracking, okay? The children must drink from the fountain of oil. I love fracking. I literally dream about fracking. I want to frack the most. It's like, dude, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say any of that shit. The fuck's wrong with you? I will make the water fountain scream. You will be able to light those shits on fire like in Texas when I'm done with this country. I will frack so hard. You want it? You want the phone? Here.
That you said, oh, okay, I get it now.
What I have seen is that we can grow and we can increase a thriving clean energy economy without banning fracking.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration. As Vice President, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
Northern part of Central America.
the northern part
Yeah.
of Central America that affects the southern border of the U.S. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border.
She's like, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. Immigrants are rapists. You're right. Dana, Republicans are right. We all know it. Guatemalans are entering our communities specifically with one goal in mind: stealing our jobs, stealing our groceries, stealing the homes, and also doing rape. Okay? Everybody knows this. We've already completely ceded ground to the Republicans on this insane fucking rhetoric. Build the wall. I'm a big advocate. We got to build the wall, okay? They took our jobs, brother. They are even taking our criminal jobs. Yeah. By the way, of course, a big part of the reason why there was a shit ton of more migrants coming over the border is the Trump administration making the economy scream. By their own fucking words, this is what they did to Venezuela, while on the other hand, also offering TPS to Venezuelan migrants. That's why so many fucking people are coming from these places that are unimaginably sanctioned to fucking hell. And, you know, great stuff overall. But hey, let's not get into that. That's a totally separate issue. Let's get back to what she's saying.
And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress.
Why is that a flex? You are a Democrat. You are running on a platform of change. You are a Democrat. Please, please, why are you saying this? Okay? Why are you... Oh my God. There is... The irony here is that there is no fucking compromise in this situation. There is no compromise in the situation because it's just a pure right-wing bill. It literally has millions of dollars allocated to building a fucking stupid-ass border wall that's not going to do anything. Okay? And it's ironic because not only is it not going to do anything, but they also actively fucking campaigned against it for like 8 years. Not even just 4. They actively campaigned against it during the Trump administration, and they kept talking against it even after the Trump administration was over. What the fuck? What are you doing?
Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support, and Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill.
We definitely need that. We need 1,500 more agents on the border, dude. That's what we need. That's where the investment needs to be going to. By the way, notice how not a single American ever asked how we're going to pay for this when we're talking about beefing up our border security. Okay? A completely, wholly unnecessary, silly, idiotic notion. Okay? Born out of right-wing hysteria and white supremacy. White nativist anti-immigrant sentiment is completely ridiculous. It is made up. This is a country that relies on migration, okay? This is a country that has been a dominant force on this planet due to migration. We have not run into the same problems, okay? We have not run into the same problems that other developed nations have run into as a direct consequence of our more tolerant approach to migration. It is fucking crazy.
Bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock and 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill.
I feel like this bill is boring and unpopular, so why do they talk about it so much? No, it is not boring or unpopular. The problem is that because they've completely ceded ground and have never counter-messaged against the Republican Party on this issue, it is not an unpopular bill at all. That's the worst problem. The worst problem is when the Democrats completely stopped talking about migration and were running scared for the first half of the Biden administration, and then literally fucking looked at focus tests and focus groups and realized, oh my God, Americans are bloodthirsty to kill migrants. They literally were like, oh, we're going to kill the migrants too. Classic. And you don't have to look further than the past 8 years to see the dramatic shift in attitudes in the minds of Americans in terms of how they view migration in general. 4 years under the Trump administration, the media actively shat on Donald Trump and his policies. The media, liberal media, actively shat on Donald Trump. The Democrats actively shat on Donald Trump and his fucking policies on immigration. Okay? Genuinely, they just never stopped. And it was understandable. It was understandable that they never stopped. You want to know why they never stopped? Because it was fucking ridiculous. That's the whole point about creating phantasms and scapegoating immigrants or other groups that from the top down inflicted economic problems. Is not, if not immigrants, it'll be something else anyways. It's how to maintain the status quo. Democracy functions through fear and rhetoric. Yes, it's true. Hold on. I know that there's a naysayer in here somewhere who routinely chirps at me from a liberal point of view, and I want to hear it. They're scared of a challenge. Politicians can change public perception. She hasn't one mentioned mass deportations here as far as I know. Yes, that's the other side. Okay? The other side of this equation is like, if you want to fucking talk about it, you should at the very least talk about how terrifying Donald Trump's insanely racist policies are. But they're scared because they see the same Pew Center research that we see where it says 60% of Americans want mass deportation. So they're too terrified to even make Americans understand what mass deportation looks like. They're too scared. They're scared that they're going to fucking talk about the deportations and promote Donald Trump this way. Okay? Because they're fucking pussies. They're fucking cowards. It's the same principle behind the fact that they did not protect abortion rights for years and years and years, and they took it for fucking granted. And until the very last moment where the Republican agenda actually kicked in and took away women's reproductive rights, did they start campaigning on it. And as a matter of fact, and once again, people forget this, Joe Biden and the administration didn't even want to run on abortion at all. Okay? That's how fucking stupid they are sometimes. They were forced into running on abortion because the groundswell approach, like the actual fucking grassroots mobilization that came in after women's rights were fucking restricted, was too large to avoid, too large to ignore. Republicans didn't take away women's reproductive rights. They put it into the hands of the states. Yeah, totally, dude. That's why every fucking state is like, what the fuck are you doing? We actually want to vote. We want to vote to enshrine abortion as a protected fucking medical procedure in our state constitutions. And then Republicans are actively working against that to try to take that off the ballots. Or sometimes, like in the case of Kentucky, even if they do vote overwhelmingly to protect abortion, they end up going and saying, fuck that. We're still going to criminalize it anyway. Shut the fuck up. Shut your bitch ass up. Even in goddamn Missouri, 54% of Missourians currently are in favor of protecting abortion rights. In fucking Missouri. The fuck do you mean? Oh, it's they made it states' rights. Yeah, like states' rights to own slaves, right? Good one. Ridiculous. There's not a single goddamn state in this nation where people are like, no, actually, we should criminalize abortion. It doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. Okay? That's why it was considered a super precedent by the 3 fucking Trump Supreme Court appointees that literally lied to the American public, lied to the fucking Senate, lied to every single person and said, of course we're not going to overturn Roe v. Wade. It's a super precedent. Everybody loves it. 75% of Americans consistently say, of course they should keep Roe v. Wade as the law of the land, making sure that there is a fucking lower limit to what kind of restrictions states can implement. Ridiculous. Democrats run scared. They don't ever actually protect their fucking civil liberties. And then Republicans take that shit away because they fight tooth and nail, because they do ideologically have investments in their projects, even if they are going to incur political, even if they're going to incur the wrath of the American public, they still do it because they don't care. They want to fucking control. They want to literally do this. They want to do this because they're zealots. Okay? And it's crazy. Democrats then turn around and go, oh, see, this is a great gift for us to be able to run on now. It blows my goddamn mind, and we're doing that on immigration. If Donald Trump ends up winning and he starts trying to fucking do concentration camps at the goddamn border, Americans are going to be screaming bloody murder once again, just like they did when Donald Trump was president and he was doing child separation as a deterrence policy, okay? How quickly you forgot. But it will be far too late at that point. It will be far too late at that point, okay? Because it will have happened already. And then the Democrats will sit there and fundraise off of that fucking death and destruction. This is what we do every single time, dude. It's what we do every single election cycle. It's the same song and dance over and over again.
Would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they...
So what audience do you think Kamala thinks she's reaching by doing what Trump's doing with abortion, but with the wall and other Republican sentiments? Genuine question. I think it's idiotic. She's not going to win a single fucking anti-migrant voter. All she's doing is priming her base, the base of the Democratic Party, into having anti-migrant sentiment. That's it. You do not win a single fucking voter on this issue, okay? All you are doing is actually, in the long term, one, bouldering towards fascism, okay? And making it more permissible to have this kind of insanely right-wing slant on immigration, even if it is at odds with American economic policy, even if it is at odds with, like, obviously any kind of like humanitarian opinion you might have about migrants that are coming over the fucking border. But beyond that, all you're doing is priming your base to be right-wing on immigration. That's all you've done. That's all you fucking done.
they've
So you would,
experienced.
so you would push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about
Like literally, I will melt migrants myself personally. I'll kill a fucking Guatemalan myself, okay? You don't understand how ride or die I am, okay? I love the wall. Build the wall. So dumb. What a fucking overcorrective nonsense. The best way to possibly talk about this, if you're locked in on this trajectory, okay, is obviously fucking 4 years ago. You should have perceived this being an obvious problem because this is a parachute for the Republicans. They use it every fucking 2 years, okay? Oh, there's another caravan coming over. Suspicious. Suspicious how there's another caravan coming over every fucking 2 years, dude. All of a sudden, it's the only thing you need to talk about. Oh my God. She is literally the child of immigrants. Okay? What the fuck? It's so frustrating. October caravan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right now, immigration is like definitely much, much lower. So it's not even top of mind, but it will be. There are zero even centrist policies in that bill. It's just 100% Trump's bill. That's what people don't understand. This is the most anti-migrant bill since the Chinese Exclusion Act. It's also probably unconstitutional because he denies asylum claims without due process, which is against the U.S. treaty obligations that have even been ratified by the U.S. Senate. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy to me. Like, I cannot imagine how the Democrats thought that this was a solid thing to do and how they're still running on it. But let's say you're still running on it, okay? Let's say you just can't do anything, okay? Let's say you can't do anything about it. You're too locked in. Never talk about it, okay? Never talk about it. When she fucking approaches you on the border issue, okay? Never talk about like, oh, I put forward this bill and Trump killed it, blah, blah, blah. He's cynically using migration. Just talk about how you are a child of migrants. America is a nation of immigrants. Donald Trump's fucking parents are immigrants, okay? Everyone's a goddamn immigrant here. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. These people are playing a formative role in the American economy, okay? I'm not going to play this fucking stupid ass game. Donald Trump wants to do mass deportations. They have people fucking waving mass deportation flags at the Republican National Convention. Do you understand how fucking insane that is? Not a single person has asked the question, how do we do that? Not a single person has asked the question, how do we pay for it? Not a single person is even thinking about the economic impact that it will have, even if you're not thinking about the humanity of it all. Because mass deportation means dragnets. Mass deportation means going in with militarized units, okay, BORTAC, going in door to door and nabbing as many fucking migrants as possible and as many people that they suspect of being migrants as possible. It means checkpoints, okay? It means a two-tier legal system, a court process. And you obviously can't fucking mass deport 12 million to 15 million Americans, okay, people living on U.S. soil without obviously speeding up this process. That means you're going to put 200 fucking people that you suspect of being Mexican in one courtroom and have the fucking judge go, all right, you guys are all guilty. You're all found guilty of being fucking undocumented. And then you're going to ship them off to concentration camps. That's precisely what this looks like. There is no other way of doing this other than Hitlerian Israel-style bullshit, okay? That's it. That's what they want to do. But the problem is, no one is talking about this. No one on the Democratic Party side is even broaching the subject. It blows my fucking mind.
Which I support. And Donald Trump, God word, their concern.
Anyway.
community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl, what passing that bill would have done to address their concern.
The other part, oh my God, the fentanyl part. It's like, dude, are you stupid? Are you fucking, like, what happened? Did the cop gene kick in? Like, what's going on here? ACAB, assigned cop at birth? Like, is your brain okay? You're saying fentanyl? Like, we're gonna, like, you're not even describing how fentanyl is apprehended at the fucking border, okay? It has nothing to do with undocumented immigration at all, okay? That is a lie. It is American citizens that are trafficking fentanyl into this country. American citizens. 90% of all drugs apprehended at the border come in through regular points of entry. And 84% to 90% of all of those people who are apprehended are fucking American citizens. They are the people trafficking the fucking drugs. What are you talking about? It's not Guatemalan migrants that are fucking crossing the border with fentanyl in their pockets, dude. Jesus Christ. I gotta pee.
And a pain that they've
So
experienced.
you would push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's be clear, in this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage.
It's crazy how far right we've moved on communicating on this issue. Okay? Like, I cannot begin to explain how terrifying a prospect this is. Okay? We are literally conflating migrants with transnational gangs. We are conflating migrants with criminals. Okay? Drug traffickers, kidnappers. It's because there isn't a left-wing electoral threat, so they feel free to become Republican light. Yeah. It is fucking nutty, dude. It is nutty how fucking far right we've become on this issue as a nation. It is nutty how far the Democratic Party has, how far right the Democratic Party has become on this issue. And it is especially frustrating because it is completely born out of Republican panic and steady messaging on the issue. It is not a real thing. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I will never sway away from this point. I don't care. It is fucking ridiculous. And a party that demonstrates their capability of shifting on this issue in a matter of 4 fucking years while they're in power will concede and capitulate the right-wing framing on every issue. Okay? That means trans people. That means black people. That means police brutality, which they've already done. Okay? It is crazy. It's crazy. Oh. What's your overall opinion on immigrants crossing the border illegally? Genuine question. They would never do that if the process of coming in legally was easier, and it should be easier. The process of documentation and processing should be made easier. That's the fucking only answer to this. Okay? They are not of one mind. They are not a monolithic force. They are not crossing the border to do harm to Americans. They are looking for the same exact things that you're looking for, okay? A roof over their heads, a better future for themselves and their children. Okay? Yes, as Gaben once said, piracy is a service problem. Okay? As the great hero Gaben once famously said, piracy is a service problem. Okay? Illegal immigration is simply a matter of processing. That's it. Remember when you and I were arguing for Bernie in 2020 and liberals were like, the public option is more realistic, trust us? Now they won't even talk about healthcare at all, as it is more unaffordable than ever. Exactly, because they never wanted to fucking fight for it anyway, as we correctly called out. As it stands currently, immigrant labor or undocumented migrant labor is used as a depressive force on the existing documented labor force in this country. The solution to that is not to like do Hitlerian style concentration camps and mass deportation of people suspected of being an undocumented migrant and all of the undocumented migrants. The solution to that is to process them, document them, and allow them to participate in the labor force with the same exact rights that the documented U.S. labor force has, and allow them to unionize as well. That's it. That's how you do it.
Passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. And 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you, one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus. And it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone
Yes,
in
I
mind?
would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68.
Like people heard this and were like, oh, dude, you're silly. Like it plays well to the moderate, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no room for capitulating. Okay. The Republicans actively polarize the country against the Democrats, and then the Democrats run towards the Republicans. Okay. I don't understand why they do this. You are running against a Republican. You are a fucking Democrat. Shut the fuck up. Why? Why are you saying this? It doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. Like people are like, oh, it'll be a bullshit position. Oh, it's great. It plays well to the moderates or whatever. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're a goddamn Democrat. Stop making excuses for the fucking psychotic Republican Party. What the fuck's wrong with you? Fuck that. So no bipartisanship? What are you talking about, dude? Live in the real world. There is no bipartisanship. It's just bipartisanship is a code word for Republican agenda being passed by Democrats. She literally just brought up a bipartisan bill that has nothing in it for Democrats. Nothing. It was written by some of the most conservative Republicans in Congress. Okay? What is that? Where's the bipartisanship? Bipartisanship does not mean you are pushing a right-wing bill written by Republicans that will enact the Republican agenda, but you're a Democrat pushing it, so all of a sudden it's automatically bipartisan. What are you talking about? And it doesn't make sense that you're smiling and thinking fondly about the idea of like a Republican in your cabinet. Okay? Because every other moment when you're running up against the Republican Party, you're openly communicating that these guys are demons, that they took away your abortion rights, that they literally are doing Project 2025. So that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. You're like, these guys are all trying to create this incredibly complex system that will destroy the regulatory agencies. They want to do Project 2025. They want to do checkpoints for abortion in states so they can catch people fucking doing interstate travel to go get an abortion. And then you're like, but some of them are very nice and I would like them to be a part of my cabinet. Like, what are you saying? This question is also never really presented to the Republicans, by the way. They asked fucking Joe Biden this question. They asked Hillary Clinton this question. They asked Obama this question. They all did it. They all also, to a certain degree, will either keep the Republicans that were appointed or put Republicans in the cabinet. But it's like the Republicans never do that shit. Where's the goddamn Democrat in the Republican leadership? Where's the goddamn Democrats in the Republican cabinets? As a matter of fact, they literally are so far right, sometimes they call the Republicans in their existing cabinet Democrats or rhinos. Remember fucking Jim Comey? RFK, come on, guys. Come on. We're having a serious conversation, okay? We're having a serious fucking conversation. Please be for real, okay? Oh, RFK, sure. Jesus Christ.
8 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse, but I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion.
I think she's just trying to stop the vitriol and bring people together, which I hope is something that can happen, but she's not doing it the right way. No. There is no stopping the vitriol and bring people together. This is a dumbass fucking argument. Dog. You know who else tried to do that? Joseph Robinette Brandon. And they said he was either brain broken, which he was, and an doddering old fool, or when he was able to fucking get the drug cocktail correct and actually had like a solid speech, they would say he's scary and is calling the rest of the country animals and fascists, which they are. FDR brought the country together by beating the Republicans into the fucking dirt. Exactly. Also, diversity of opinion is insane. For a Democratic presidential nominee to say diversity of opinion is crazy to me, okay? I'm old enough to remember the Gamergate era online. Diversity of opinion is a right-wing op, okay? It is a way to sneak in Nazis into the conversation. That's why you only heard people say, what about the diversity of opinion? From fucking straight up. And I'm not saying like, oh, Republicans are all fascists, they're all Nazis. Like actual white supremacist Nazis who fucking call themselves openly white supremacist Nazis say, what about the diversity of opinion? Okay? The diversity of opinion never includes any kind of actual fucking socialists or any kind of actual leftist attitudes, okay? It only goes far right. The same principle behind free speech, okay? They love saying free speech only when it's Nazis.
I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of
When's she gonna start talking about Israel, man?
your identity.
Yeah.
Any
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
Oh, by the way, banger. That was a banger, okay? Props where props is due, okay? Kamala Harris does not step on these fucking landmines at all. Straight up. Straight up. She doesn't play that game. I really respect that. That is actually one of the things that she has actually deviated away from the Hillary Clinton style of campaigning that I do appreciate. I think like the Joseph Robinette Brandon method kind of forced the Democratic Party's hand into like dropping the fucking identity shit. Like, no more I'm with her. No more fucking glass ceilings nonsense. No more like, oh, he's attacking me. I said this before. They should never do that. They should never talk about that unless it is directly about tangible policies, okay? The way that people are harmed by these kinds of attitudes being demonstrated by Republicans, because it leads to awful right-wing policy solutions that end up harming half the fucking country. Okay? It's great. She didn't play that at all. Okay? Whoa, Hasan Abi actually said something good about that. Wait, first of all, I recognize that she stood on business in terms of like her defense of the previous administration's accomplishments, like the IRA. That was good. I think she did a good job with that. And this is another thing that she's doing a good job at. I am not like anti-Kamala Harris unconditionally because I fucking hate her. I am critical of Kamala Harris because I demand more from people that I might end up voting for, okay? Not to say that I am, mind you. I am not saying that at all. Anyway, let's continue.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be.
Yeah, that was good. That was a great answer. I don't play that. Fuck that. Whatever. Because guess what, dude? And I've thought about this a lot. It's because she's not a white woman. Okay? Or also a narcissistic white woman. That's where Kamala Harris's lived experience comes into play. Okay? As a black woman in the United States of America, she knows she can't be like, oh, I'm going to be the first black woman to be in power and think that that is going to be a successful narrative. Whereas Hillary Clinton, as a narcissistic, conservative white woman, literally thought she could be running on this like, I'm with her. I'm putting the team on my back. Vote for me just because I'm a woman. You can't fucking do that. Okay? People need to first believe that you are going to do good things for them, and then they'll be excited for you. They're not just going to be excited for you because you're a woman. Okay? Just like exactly, I was about to say this, Obama didn't run on being a black man either. Okay? That's the difference. That's the difference. The reason why she's not doing the identity politics game in the way that Hillary Clinton did is because she's a black woman. Okay? And she knows as a black woman that you can't fucking do that and like have people go, oh, hell yeah, I'm so stoked. She's already a black woman. She's wearing it on her face. Everybody knows her identity. You don't have to fucking constantly recycle it. Okay? She knows. That's it. I like Hillary. Hillary has nothing to do with this. Hillary has everything to do with this. What are you talking about? She's not black, Lamau. She's Indian. Yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah. You can't be black and Indian. Like, you can't be born to a black father and an Indian mother. It's just not allowed. I'm also anti-miscegenation. Oh. Also, it's a really good answer because it completely deflates the Trump attack point. What are they going to do? Press the issue? It's the same issue that makes them look super unpopular. It literally just leaves a strain on our campaign. Exactly. That was actually one of the highest marks I give Kamala Harris in terms of like dealing with that. And I do give him props for never even broaching the subject matter. Okay?
On your plate if you become commander in chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Is it a lot of people on the progressive left? Because last time I checked, all polling shows that it's not just people on the progressive left. It is literally the entirety of the Democratic Party's base of support. Okay? 80% of Democrats want to push for a ceasefire and do so by denying weapons transfers. Okay? There is a majority of moderates who want the same thing. Okay? The idea that this is a progressive left issue from Dana Fash is ridiculous. Is ridiculous fucking framing. Okay? Ridiculous framing. Let's hear what she has to say here. We might not like it. No, I already know. I listened to this last night live. I fucking hated it. It was awful.
Let me be very clear. I'm unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival.
Oh.
Women were horribly raped. As I said then, I say today, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would.
You should have said Israel had a right to defend itself, not the way that it is right now. That would have been a banger. That would have actually cut away from Biden in a very meaningful way. If she said Israel had a right to defend itself on October 7, which it fucking completely gave up on by, unleashing new layers of hell upon Palestinian children, again, door knocking, okay? I'm out there. I'm out there, baby. And there's still plenty of shit that I disagree with her on. Anyway, let's continue.
And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a...
What? As an anti-Zionist Israeli-born Jew, I don't think your take on Kamala's Israel views is fair since it ignores that over 60% of Israeli chatters still have to see the top of the hour ad break. That's really fucked up. That's fucked up. That is... Why are chatters giving alley-oops to other chatters? Y'all are fucking coordinating, okay? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like the coordination. I don't like that you guys are organizing. How about you organize for a better future? Not organize to fucking serve ads at the top of the hour. How about that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Motherfuckers doing teamwork in here. That's bullshit. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or you can get gifted a sub. If you're lucky, use the 3-minute ad break now. Do you support policies like promoting sex changes for children? What? What the fuck are you talking about, dog? What are you talking about? Where on the planet do you think this is happening? Okay? There's not a single place on the planet where there is sex changes happening for children, okay? You might be thinking of like medical procedures such as after consulting with medical professionals. I saw on Twitter I'm Brian Kill Me. Thank God that the people making decisions usually aren't people who go, I saw something on Twitter and I believed it. Do you think Kamala handled that question well, given the pressure of AIPAC? Fuck no. And suck my dick, AIPAC. Okay? AIPAC can suck me from the back and the front. No. Kamala Harris is doing a horrible job with this. This is like one of her weakest fucking angles, in my opinion. What the fuck is AIPAC, bro? What are we doing? A foreign lobby is supposed to be holding us at gunpoint, like holding our politics hostage? Get the fuck out of here. No.
A deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
And in the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
but no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done.
Now, of course, Dana is not going to fucking press the issue further because she got what she wanted. Okay? She got what she wanted. Ironic, however, because this is the worst possible way to answer this question. Okay? Time is running out in terms of forcing Israel to come to terms with the ceasefire deal that has been in place for months at this point. Time is also running out in terms of Kamala Harris separating herself from this losing issue. Okay? Joe Biden has been objectively unpopular on this. Donald Trump was beating Joe Biden by double digits on the issue of Israel. Okay? He benefits quite a bit from not having to be the president presiding over the situation. Okay? And that is precisely the reason why people make up their own opinions. People project their own opinions onto what Donald Trump will do in terms of Israel. Okay? This does not mean that people are like excited at the prospect of like increasing the pressure of genocide on the Palestinian population. There are plenty of Republicans who do want that, but by and large, there are plenty of people who literally look to what Biden is doing and see that it is unconscionable and think maybe Trump will be different. They are daring to dream, okay? They're wrong, but that's not how people fucking operate, okay? This is not how they make this political calculation. Seeing all of that and seeing the polling that shows that people do want this to end consistently for the past 6-7 months at this point, Kamala Harris has to break away from the Biden administration.